ask here the author of the film, Biebert, to tell us more about this film.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming today. We're going to take, I think, a couple of questions here as well. But first, I just wanted to say something real quick to all of you guys. It's been fun to come here and meet a lot of the people from Estonia. Clearly, you guys are farther ahead of the United States in some ways with having some anti-corruption leaders. We don't have that in the U.S. And clearly, you can see what happens when you have a lot of money and influence with the health departments. You know, a lot of bad things happen, and so it's been great to see, you know, how much you here in Estonia care about your neighbors and how willing you are to learn about the facts. And I think, and also how wonderful you have great film festivals here too as well. So it's a great honor to be here. So I think I wanted to take some questions here. We have about 25 minutes. And I wanted to open up in case anybody had questions, or did you have a question?
Yes, I would take the first question, and after that, of course, everybody's welcome to ask questions. But as we face this situation, which is quite depressing actually, what can we do about it? Mis me saame teha selles olukorras?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of people say they were quite angry after they watched this movie, and they don't necessarily know. I believe that New York Times said that the movie got you angry, but it didn't tell you what to do. And I think that's, I guess that's a good point, but at the end of the day, I think that honest, compassionate people know what to do when they see this. You know, they know, for those of you here in the room who are leaders, in Parliament or elsewhere, you know that you need to take this information. And when people try to tell you that we should ban flavors, it's makes for kids, you know that's not true. That flavors are why adults are choosing to switch to this safer technology versus smoking. Or when you hear that, you know, there's formaldehyde in the, you know that was a propaganda study done that was paid for by lawyers looking to sue people. And it was a fraud. So I think that, leaders know, I think if you're in the media, you know that you can't just accept every press release that comes to you from organizations who get a lot of money from GlaxoSmithKline or other pharmaceutical industry companies, big companies. I think that those of you who are here because you have a loved one who quit smoking and is now using vapor technology, you know to stop harassing them at Christmas. When you're all together, and for those of you who are maybe still smoking, a lot of people are smoking. And I think if people want to smoke, that's fine. But 70% want to quit smoking, and I think that those of you who are thinking about quitting smoking, maybe now you have another option. Not to listen to the media. So everybody has a different thing that they can do to help. But at the end of the day, truth, I think, in many ways, is all we need to give the people. And then they will use their brains, to make something of that truth, however that might be. So I think, it probably starts with you guys have a big battle about to happen here in your own country about this. TPD, which was the Tobacco Products Directive from the EU, was written by pharmaceutical companies and tobacco companies. That's a fact. We have memos even in the movie. You see they're lobbying the European Union. Many members of the European Parliament are meeting with these people all the time. And they made it a very bad law. This TPD was very bad. There's no reason why you would make little bottles for people that are trying to quit smoking. Why would you do that? For help with children? Well, they don't make bleach in little bottles. Or cleaning, little things for cleaning your home, which would poison your children. They don't make you have those in little bottles, 10 ml bottles. So I think that it's important that, that we have a good conversation using facts and science. And I think that's going to happen here in Estonia. I'm very excited about that. It sounds like there's some really smart people here. And I think that hopefully the science will win at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, if we listen to the science, we will save a lot of lives. So I think that's a long answer to your question. But does I guess anybody have any questions? I'm guessing you do. Don't be afraid. We'll have to yell. Or maybe someone might have to interpret for me. But I know you guys have a question. They always come after the first one. Oh, sorry. There's one. Here, I'll give you the mic.
Do you get any financial profit from e-cigarettes yourself?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I guess we didn't address that in the movie. I'm not a smoker or a vapor, and I have no business with e-cigarettes or any vaping products. And to make this movie, we took no money from any outside organizations. Our production company made this movie, and we took no money. And I know that's a very good question because, hey, it's a movie about money influencing things. But yes, I'm very excited to say that no, you don't have to worry about that. I do not have a business that benefits from this, other than obviously when it's in cinemas, we do make money from the movie sometimes. Although we probably won't make enough to pay for it, but we do make some. All right, any other questions? We have about, I think, 15 minutes. Don't be shy. You can even speak in Russian or Estonian. We have translators here. You know, in many ways, how many of you, raise your hand if you're familiar with Kodak? We used to make film for cameras. Anybody? Yeah. So Kodak is gone now. They went bankrupt because they kept making film even after people stopped using film, and they never got into digital cameras. Well, your question was a good one, and it's one that's kind of confusing, but actually a lot of tobacco companies are starting to make these devices because they're worried about being Kodak. They're not good devices, is my understanding. I don't vape or use e-cigarettes or smoke, so I'm not familiar with how each one is better than the other one. But they are making devices now, and it's getting very confusing because they also sell cigarettes. But Philip Morris has publicly stated that their goal is to stop selling cigarettes. I think maybe that might be in 300 years or something like that. I don't know. But one thing that I am starting to wonder about is who is worse, the big pharmaceutical companies or the big tobacco companies, because the tobacco companies, it seems like, are starting to, at least think about changing, whereas the pharmaceutical companies, if everyone stopped smoking today, half of their profits would be gone because people are getting very sick from cancer, very sick from COPD, asthma, on and on and on, erectile dysfunction, a lot of those things. And so it's tough. You can't change diseases necessarily, but you can change what you make. And so I don't know. I guess we will wait to see, but they are making devices. It's not the majority. I think it's only like 1% of all the products out there or something like that, but they are making them. So hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions? Yep, right there.
Hi.
Hello.
Through your journey, as I understood, you are familiar with all the people you have talked and so on. Do you think that vaping could win? And also, in Estonia, even though there isn't so much big money involved like in the US, but the people that are involved in health organizations and so on are believing the false information that are coming from everywhere. So what we can do about that?
Yes, that's a really good question. And just to start with the end part of what you said, the problem is that the United States has a lot of propaganda coming out of it, like you said, with the big money. And unfortunately, a lot of smaller countries that don't have the budgets to do all the research themselves are believing it. And it makes sense why they believe it. These were trusted organizations. The American Lung Association is very big. They put out stuff, although not research, but they put out a lot of scary things. And the media is becoming very global. So when you see American media sometimes on social media, that goes around the world. So yes, will the truth win? Will people, right now, most people in the world, or at least most people in Europe and the US, the majority believe that vapor, e-cigs are just as bad or worse than smoking. And that we know for a fact is not true. That there's no way that's possible, because the bad thing is lighting tobacco on fire. It's the fire, it's the smoke, that's the worst thing. But will that truth win? Yes, I do think so. I think that we will win, because there are a lot of countries, for instance, we had our world premiere in New Zealand. They have changed since then. They came out on television, their government said, we are going to relook at this, and they have changed now. Australia, they are making changes too. Even though you see they're up here taking this man's home, they're going to change. Hungary, we just had our premiere there last week. They already have a minister of parliament who is out giving a speech about how important this is. Things are changing. I believe the truth will always win if honest people and scientists stand up for the truth. And they do honest work. And I think that there's a lot of great scientists and a lot of great public health people out there. Not everybody's crooked. Not everybody who works to help people in health is crooked or dishonest. There are a lot of really honest people. They're being lied to right now. But as they look at the evidence, more and more science is coming out saying, hello, this is way better than smoking, and it's helping people quit all over the world. There's 40 million people using these products now. It's not going away. No matter what. Even if Estonia votes to ban them today, they won't go away, because people will fight to save their life, and they will fight to save the lives of their loved ones too. Their neighbors, their friends, their family. This isn't going away. People can make these devices with flashlights. That's how they originally started doing it. And you can make your own liquid, and people will do that. And the truth, while it will take a little bit of time, I believe even in the U.S. we are starting to make changes here. The movie will be seen over 100 times in the U.S. in the first month or so. It's not going away. And there's a loud group of people that are starting to say, be honest, listen to the science. So I think the truth will win. Next question.
Point being made that e-cigarettes are a safer alternative, and that like in Coca-Cola, we actually don't know what is not in there, and which could be potentially harmful for health, and perhaps we should be more careful about that.
Well, I think that's a fair question, and I think that that's one of the many things that's going on around the world right now that's wrong and dishonest and not true. They do know what are in these things. This is very clear what's in these things. There's only a couple ingredients, and many of these ingredients, like for instance propylene glycol is the main ingredient in these devices, and that's the same thing that they use in hospitals for ventilation systems to purify the air. That's the main ingredient. Nicotine, we know nicotine also from the movie. Lots of patches, gum, snus, they've been using this stuff for many years, for 40 years. No evidence that these things cause any problem other than some sort of, like caffeine, a little bit higher blood pressure. There's some issues, if you have bad heart, maybe you shouldn't do it. But we know what's in these things. Some flavors, they don't know certain things about the different flavors. But that's easy, because if you find one flavor that's bad, you just don't use that flavor anymore. You don't ban the whole thing because of one flavor. And this product has been around for 10 years. It's not like it started, last year. It's not new. There's been more science done on vapor technology than on cigarettes. There's a lot more research on this, and people are researching this stuff like crazy right now. And they have yet to find anything, unless they do bad research, that shows that this technology should not be promoted. And the Royal College of Physicians, which is the most prestigious medical organization in the world, these were the people who discovered that cigarettes were killing people. And for 2 years, everybody ignored them. 2 years. And now this year they say, these things need to be promoted. Promoted. They should be promoted, and yet we're banning things. There's a lot of scary things being said, a lot of we don't know, we're not sure. There's a lot to be sure about, and I think that it's important to read that if people are interested to look at more science. TheRoyalStudy.com is a link to that report that they did, and I thought it was a really good report. They went through 50, 60 different studies looking at the science, because at the end of the day it's about the science. It's not about what might happen, or which a lot of people are afraid that kids are going to start using these things and it's going to get people to smoke. But if you've ever tried to a cherry flavored vapor device, you're probably not going to want to smoke because that probably tastes a lot better than that, and it doesn't kill you. So most smokers I've talked to, say they've been trying for 10 years, they try to quit, they keep doing it every year, they have the gum, they have the patches, it's not working. For those people who are really, the people that have started smoking at a young age, they get very hooked on the nicotine, they get very hooked on smoking, they're not going to quit easily, and certainly the gum, the statistics are out there and they're pretty clear that it's not very successful for the majority of smokers, whereas these devices are not always successful either. There are lots of people that try it and are still unable to quit, especially if they tried the earlier devices when they first came out. But what we need to do is give all the people the choices. They need to have all the choices to try whatever they want. They could try gum, they could try patches, they should be able to try these things too. And right now what's happening is there's propaganda and fear being spread that people shouldn't try this, even though this has helped millions of people quit smoking. And so I think that...
What about weed?
Weed. Yeah, that won't help you quit smoking. Usually that helps you start smoking weed at least. But although people are... Right, well there are people that are finding ways to use vapor for weed too, and to get the benefits of that without getting the smoke, because at the end of the day the smoke is the problem, and it will be the problem for people as they use cannabis more and more. So unfortunately, but that's the truth of it, and maybe this technology can help those people as well. So it's a tough answer, but yes, we made the movie mostly about e-cigarettes and vapor products because that's the thing being lied about. Everybody knows about nicotine gum, but they don't know about this, and that's the lies that are being spread about that, is that, so yes, it was mostly about those things, but it wasn't about, it wasn't about some of those other things, because everybody knows about them, and a lot of people have said that they don't work very well, and I stand by that, because, if you look at pretty much the top 2 doctors in the world on this topic are in our movie, and they tell me this is a terrible success rate with these things, and so when the experts tell us this, we put it in the movie, and that's kind of the way that we follow it, to honor the science. So, all right.